I think we're due to get some snow this week, which is the bane of my life. I've just seen snow on top of a car. Oh no. Good morning, folks. It's Monday. It's a new week. Knowing that the snow is now coming in, I'm glad we prioritised doing what we could on the ground first. If the ground is covered in snow, then you're buggered.
Oh my god.
Long dark days. You've got to try and keep the staff morale up. Have a bit of laugh in the morning, have a laugh throughout the day, whoever you're with, and just try and keep the mood boosted. Questioning my decision this morning in the yard when the snow was blowing sideways and it was somewhat dark, and I just thought, is this the right thing to be doing? But we've just decided we'll go and do it. We'll go and have a laugh, if anything. If it gets really bad and we have to cancel, we have to cancel. Well, it's finally here. You look like you're having a whale of a time, mate. Are you having fun? Are you contemplating your life choices now?
No, not really. That's quite therapeutic.
That's quite a cool knife you got, eh? Hello, sir. How are you getting on?
Not too bad. Getting there.
What are you up to?
At the moment, just pruning some low-hanging branches.
Yeah. Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It is another week here in the life of a 23-year-old business owner. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, I am Ben. I run Morrison Lawn Landscape. I have done so since the age of 15, where I started out just by cutting grass for my surrounding area, going door to door. 8 years later, it has evolved into something somewhat meaningful, and the idea of this vlog is to share my journey in business, show the good and the bad, and try and have a transparent view on what it actually takes for me to grow this business. I start off the vlog with some sad news. On Monday morning, Gillian, our wonderful office admin, has handed in her notice. Gillian started with us earlier on in the year. She was my first admin assistant. It was a big jump for the business to take someone on in that sort of non-fee earning role, someone who isn't typically out there making the business money, but is often the brains and the sort of puppet master behind the scenes, keeping things going and doing all the administrative tasks. Gillian had a background in sort of construction, and she's been an admin for a number of years now, so it was great to have her on board. She actually taught me a lot of things, and also set up a lot of things that I never would have set up. I have not ever used a spreadsheet in my life. I really wish I stuck in at IT, and the whole purpose of getting an admin in is because it's not something I'm good at. It's not a strong point that I have, and my time is not best spent doing administrative tasks. My time is best spent getting out there, getting work, building relationship with the customers, running the team, and running the day-to-day operations currently. Now, I could just tell you guys that Gillian has found a better opportunity elsewhere, and she's going to pursue that. But the whole idea of this vlog is for me to be transparent as possible, and with that comes a sense of sort of vulnerability and the information that I share with you guys. But truth be told, Gillian was somewhat bored in her role as a sort of full-time admin for the business. At the start, there was quite a lot of stuff for her to implement and catch up with and get familiar with, but as she got on top of all these things, her day almost got a little bit quieter. Now, that isn't to say that there isn't enough work for a full-time admin, because I do believe there was. But I personally took my eye off the ball with Gillian and giving her the tasks and roles and responsibilities to keep her going, through a full working day, which was for her 9 till 4. But with everything else going on in the business, my priority wasn't with that, and that's just me being sort of accountable myself, because that's all I can really do. I can only reflect on what I could have done better and stuff. I explained all this on Monday to the camera, but emotions were high. I just received the news from Gillian, and I did spiel to the camera quite a lot. But I just thought to myself, now that I've had a couple of days to sort of process it all and stuff, I would come on and explain things. First of all, just want to actually say that it is totally amicable between us. She was near tearing up, telling me. I gave her a big hug and everything, and said, you're going to be missed. And I do completely understand where she was coming from. So I really appreciate the ability to have that sort of adult conversation and not burn bridges and things. So she's working another 2 weeks, and then she will be going off into her new job. I have asked Gillian if I can share this information on the vlog, and she said yes, because she understands the whole purpose of the journey that I'm sharing on YouTube and through the social medias. And actually, funnily enough, Gillian came on board through social media. Her daughter was watching the vlog quite frequently, who I was in school with. When I mentioned I was going to be looking for an admin assistant, Gillian was going to be leaving her job, and she got in touch, and that's how it organically sort of came together. But if you guys can learn something from my sort of experience and mistakes as such, then I think it's valuable to share that. I understand a lot of people think I overshare on these videos, and where that might be true, I don't really know. I try to be as transparent as I can without, causing any grief or, being too vulnerable as such. Normally I would dwell on this for quite a while, and it would be the end of the world. But with experience and time in the seat, as I've always mentioned, and having people leave before key members of staff leave, it feels like the end of the world for a short while, but then you get over it and you just get on to the next thing. So on the Monday when I found out, I instantly just reflected to accountability on my end. Like, what could I have done? I didn't blame, or I didn't point fingers or anything like that. I looked at myself and said, where have I gone wrong, Ben? Where have I slacked off in certain areas? I acknowledge that I probably haven't given Gillian the attention that I needed to, and fulfilling her role. I can see that and I can accept that, and I think it takes a lot. It speaks volumes when you can look at a situation and try and be accountable for yourself. I've spoken to a few people and they said, don't beat yourself up. It is hard running a business. We're typically not great at training up the staff that we've already got, doing work out in the field. Never mind training someone to do an admin role that we have no experience in, and then also just trying to delegate more. But the lack of action, I think, was the problem, and I should have given that more of my attention sooner. And kept Gil busy, because I do believe that there is definitely enough work for a full-time admin assistant, and unfortunately we just didn't get to have that conversation. It is what it is. It's like I say, we're totally fine. I'm going to be sad to see her go. I told her that, but she's got to do what's best for her, and I completely respect that. So I have actually put a job ad out to try and acquire another admin assistant, whether it be part-time or full-time. Ideally maybe part-time to then grow into a full-time role. I do not want to just shotgun hire someone and then turn out to be the wrong person, so that's something I've got to be careful of. And yeah, we'll see what comes in. I've already had 3 people send in their CVs. I only put the post out yesterday, so it seems that admin roles are sought after. However, the people that have got in touch already don't really have the experience that I'm looking for. They have administrative experience, but ideally I'm looking for someone who has sort of a background in either landscaping or somewhat of construction, has a rough idea like Gillian did before she came on board. I think it's just important to further reinforce the importance of being in a good business, financial, all-round sort of position, When you aren't and you're constantly chasing that sort of cash flow, which we have been for the last little while, again, just trying to be as transparent as possible, you tend not to think with a clear mind, and you tend to be a bit more impulsive and like, right, how do we solve this issue right now and there? You know, like the reason I didn't give that role the attention that it needed was because I was too busy trying to prioritize, you know, keeping the business afloat, keeping work coming in, keeping the guys busy, keeping customers happy, you know, that constant workflow that we need. Because Gail was quite self-sufficient in her role, I didn't really have to worry about that, and I think that's where I've maybe taken my eye off the ball with things on reflection. So I guess what I'm trying to say is ultimately, I know I've spoken about, you know, what we're planning in the future in terms of vehicles and stuff like that. We really need to get into sort of profit mode where we can halt the growth of the business for a short while we focus on, you know, building up that cash flow, building up, you know, a cash reserve, focusing on systemizing and fine-tuning what we already have, and trying to become as, you know, as profitable as we can. Like I said, for the last 8 years since I started this business, albeit I was, you know, 15 at the time of starting it, so it wasn't as legitimate, I have been growing this business. I have been constantly investing and growing and expanding to where it is today. So we've never really seen that much money in the bank account because it was always thrown back into the business and invested. And it shows with what we've got, the kit we've got, the equipment, the vehicles, but that isn't everything. All these things don't mean very much if you are struggling month to month with cash flow. My goal has ultimately changed. As much as I want to go and buy some more vans and better kit that would make our job easier and make it more enjoyable and all these things to sort of flood your ego, ultimately you want to be in a good financial position so you can make these, you know, important decisions with a clear head and a clear mind without the burden of finances behind you. I know I won't be the only one in this position, and this is why I'm sharing it. And I just feel like it is important that we all sort of take a step back and look at things and say, do we halt growth for a while until we get into a better financial position and a better just overall structure before we then pursue growth again? Because growth sucks cash, and that's what it's been doing to us since we started. Do I regret it? No, because here we are. You know, has it been easy? Certainly not. Is it easy right now? Certainly not. But I'm mindful of it. I've got it on my radar, and I'm trying to take action towards being in a better position. And 2026 will be the year that we sort it out. There has to be the year that we sort it out, because I do not want to be chasing my tail, having everything being chaotic, stressful, you know, in that department for another year. We need to sort it out, and I think we will do it. I think we can do it. I've just got to hold myself accountable, be wise with what I do and what I spend, and try and make decisions with thought and intention rather than just impulse and ego. Anyway, I'm away to go and get my lunch. I will catch you soon. Well, good morning, folks. It's Monday. It's a new week. Carrying on the video from previous week, where again I wasn't really doing too much involved with the team, so the video would have been very boring. I am going to be out in the tools this week, so yes, we can crack on with some better footage, hopefully. So yes, the guys are in, just getting loaded up, just taking the dogs for a little wander. It is cold. I think we're due to get some snow this week, which is the bane of my life, but we'll just need to see what we can do and crack on as much as we can, regardless of the conditions. So knowing that the snow is now coming in, I'm glad we prioritised doing what we could on the ground first. I think that was a pretty good shout. Pushing jobs back, that can be done a little bit easier, regardless of the weather. It's still not great by all means, but yeah, we've managed to generate the revenue that way. Whereas if we did it back to front and then all the jobs that we were left were, you know, ground clearance or anything involved with ground, if the ground is covered in snow, then you're buggered. We've even got a couple of small trees in our garden to go and remove and prune, but because that can be done up in the air, it doesn't matter what the ground is looking like. We'll go and do that when the weather doesn't allow us to do anything else. So just little things like that, planning ahead, makes all the difference. So my hands are frozen right now. It's also quite an important subject, but like when it's like this and it's cold and it's wet and it's, you know, long dark days, you've got to try and keep the staff morale up, have a bit of laugh in the morning, have a laugh throughout the day, whoever you're with, and just try and keep the sort of the mood boosted. If it's all down in the dumps and negative, then you've kind of got to, I guess, address that. And it's also important for me to realise, and I do realise that, you know, it's first thing on a Monday morning and it's a cold, somewhat dark morning. The guys aren't going to be 100% up for it and let's go, you know. They're feeling the cold and that as well, but until you get going, it's fine. But if you don't acknowledge that, and think, oh, well, why are the guys like a little bit slower and stuff, and, you know, it is just the time of year. It is what it is. I didn't wake up particularly looking forward to what this week has to bring, because I know the snow and that's coming, and we're still facing challenges that we've been facing for the last little while. But came into the yard, changed my tune, asked the guys how they're getting on, how's their weekend, you know, and just tried to have that little bit of positivity. And if you don't laugh, you'll cry, you know. Stuff's, you know, frozen, and it's just one of those things. You just got to laugh it off and crack on and do as much as we can. Come and show the video your jumper. Look, wait, Roo, sit. What are you looking at? You having a stroke? Willow's brown. Roo is blue. And it was not your heart but mine. Banjo hasn't got his on because he wasn't out last night. And Jaeger, just wait until you see this guy. He's got the 3/4 lengths on. Nice jumper, bro. Come on in. What's the temperature, Kyle?
It's cold.
It's cold. So obviously, as you will have known from this video, Gillian last week handed her notice in, and I decided to try and be as proactive as I can with it, and I got an advert up straight away, well, the day after, to try and find a replacement. Now, I wish it was as easy to get ground staff as it is admin staff. It seems to be quite a popular role. So we've had a couple of good candidates, and we've had a few sort of from the hospitality background, which would be better than nothing. But again, I don't want to shotgun hire someone and then be the wrong person. I had a meeting with someone on Friday who has just finished a landscape design diploma, and she has obviously admin experience. She appreciates that it is an admin role that she's applying for, but there may be more skills that she can bring to the table that would help. And you know, if she's familiar, I've just seen snow on top of a car, oh no. And if she's a little bit more familiar with like landscaping and what's involved, then maybe she can do a little bit more than the sort of admin based stuff, potentially pricing jobs, helping with tenders and all that malarkey. So it's looking pretty positive. She's going to come in tomorrow and she's going to shadow Gillian in the office, and they're going to see see how they get on, and just Gillian's basically just going to show her what she does on a daily basis and give her a bit of an insight. There's quite a few other applications that I've got back to today, but basically said that thank you for your application, we've got quite a few to get through, we'll be in touch. Just sort of I've acknowledged the effort they've sent through their CVs and such, but I want to try and see how we get on with this one. Now, if we were applying for an admin role in general, I probably would go through the process a little bit more of interviewing people, getting a feel for everyone, seeing who would be the best fit. But because we're kind of under time pressure of Gillian leaving at the end of this week, I thought it would be good to try and get the ball moving and get someone in with Gil in the office. Gil has offered to come back and spend an evening or come back sometime to help as and when needed, just so we're not left in the dark. So that was nice of her. But it would be good to just try and get as much as we can done this week while she's still here, and then hopefully that will give us a bit of a head start, providing this candidate is a good fit and we come to some sort of agreement. So I've been kind of dealing with that this morning. The guys are out at the job. I'm supposed to be on site with them. I'm just heading out now with the digger. They are taking down a fence and we are going to be replacing it. So the reason we're bringing the digger out is to try and pull the posts out, but hopefully they've had enough to keep them busy going just now. We've got all the material on site. The ground guards and everything were loaded up on Friday, so everyone was loaded up on Friday, which is unheard of. Usually it's a sort of Monday morning jaunt, but that's given us a bit of a head start into the new week. So hopefully they've got the sort of material next to the fence, because there's a bit of a distance to travel across the garden to carry it in. So hopefully they've not been stuck waiting for me to come. Again, with everything happening just now in the cold weather that is imminent, which is here, it's 3 degrees currently, and there is a little bit of snow on the ground. Yeah, it's certainly going to get a little bit more difficult in the next little while. I'd like to say we're somewhat prepared for it in terms of, you know, kit and clothing and stuff, and hopefully mentally prepared, but it's going to be a little bit more chaotic than it usually is with trying to juggle jobs, juggle the diary, and, you know, keep people busy. I've been transparent from the start about the cold and the sort of winter months, and that if we have no work to go to because we're snowbound and we're, you know, yard bound, I cannot justify having all these wages in the yard not generating any revenue. The key thing is I've been transparent, because I haven't promised the guys the world and been able to undeliver. I have almost emphasised that it is going to be sort of worse than it probably is, but who knows? We don't know what sort of weather we're going to get. But from the day that they came on board, I told them that the winters can be tough. And unfortunately, Dav and Joe would be the first to sort of be laid off as such over the winter months. They are mainly in a sort of seasonal position anyway, until I say so, I guess. We are busy, but weather dependent. I cannot justify having all these wages to pay if we're not generating any revenue. And of course, I have to prioritise the people that have either kids, you know, a family, a mortgage to pay for, rent to pay for. But the important thing is I have been transparent. It's not ideal. I've told the guys I don't want to lay you off. I don't want to just send you on your way. I would rather have them all year round and still be able to go out there and make some money come snow or frost. Last year we were able to sustain the guys through the whole winter. I had 5 of them. We've got 6 now. Now we've got 5, and we managed to keep going. But we were lucky enough with the weather. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't great. By all means, we were out there in the snow digging holes, but it wasn't the worst, and we managed to see it through. In just over a month's time, we're going to be breaking off for the Christmas holidays, and then we'll be into January. So it's the long haul, January, February, March. It's the long haul out of winter that can be the difficult part. And as long as we're smart about it and we just try and do as much as we can, then we should be fine. But it's not nice to have that sort of anxiety about your situation and stuff, and again, not being in the most comfortable financial position going into the winter months. I share this because I know I'm not going to be the only one who feels like that, and it is important to know that you're not alone, but it is also important to know that there is things that you can do to try and make it that little bit easier. Take my word for it, I've had a few winters now where it is really hard going. For example, we just drove past a fence that we were out there in the snow doing last year. If there's a will, there's a way. You know, we've always sort of found a way through it. And it is easy to let the winter creep up on you, because before you know it, the temperature just kind of starts to drop like that, and then here we are, there's snow on the ground, and then it just completely sort of stops play or slows us down significantly. So yes, something to bear in mind. I know I harp on about it. I've spoke about it in the previous vlog and previous vlogs before that, but this is very much the real and the reality of it right now. Anyway, we're just pulling up to the job site. And where do you think you're going?
Nipping to toilet down the bottom. We just had break. We're just about to start break now.
You just had it.
No, just be on break for like 5 minutes.
Chip on. Chap on.
Right.
Spotted a high-vis walking down the street. Material all out? Is there a need for this digger?
Yeah.
The strainers, does the rest of them come out okay? This is the fence that we're doing. It was a wire fence. I'm going to be replacing it for a 6-foot ranch style all the way along. across this little burn here. So yeah, that's the sort of line of the fence. Should hopefully be a relatively straightforward one. We'll soon find out. We have a door. Yes, that is right. Last week we had Almet doors in to fit our new roller door to the shed, which is absolutely awesome. Yeah, it is one of the final pieces to the puzzle, which has been a big project in refurbing this workshop into what is going to be our main sort of central hub for the business, where the guys come in the morning. Instead of that old workshop down there, we will be coming into here. We'll be charging all the batteries and everything in here, and this will be our main sort of working workshop as such. So yeah, getting the door has been a massive achievement. It's been a long time in the making. I know it's only a door, but compared to what the shed was before, this has came on a long way, and I can share some before and afters once the project is complete. We're not quite there yet. We've still got to clad off this front face, do some bits around the back, and then also just obviously get the workshop functional and up and running, but it's pretty much there. It's all, yeah, the fundamentals are there. So really cool. Chuffed to get the door on finally. We've been waiting for quite a while to get the door made and fitted. So yeah, glad to finally get this in, and in time for the cold weather coming along. We're going to get a space heater in the workshop so that it can heat up the space, and there's a nice warm dry space to work in if the weather is bad and such, and just more storage, getting things in and out of the way. Yeah, one step further in what has been quite a collective project, this yard. Hey Jaeger, hey, come here. Jaeger, Jaeger, Jaeger. Suicidal dog. So, it is now 5 o'clock and we've got all the posts in. What time is it?
5:30. Overtime.
That's your favourite question. What time is it?
Yeah, I'll see the time.
Overtime.
Oh, it's 5:15. By the time we get back, it'll be 5:30.
No, the stop clock's now. Good shift?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that everything?
Yeah, it's just the buckets and drums.
Oh, well, we'll get them tomorrow.
Did you get
So it's 5:20, just left the job. The guys are all heading home. Joe's having to come back to the yard to pick up his car because he's the only one who decides that he wants to take his car to work. I had to come back to the yard and get a chainsaw because the client wanted a couple of trees down before we put up the fence. So quickly nipped them down, snared them and blocked them up, and then cracked on helping the boys with getting the fence posts in, and we managed to get them in the pitch black. We had the Makita tower lights out, we had the head torches out, and again just about being prepared for the inevitable. It is due forecast for snow tomorrow, so it's going to really bugger our plans for the jobs that we had on, and we're having to readjust and yeah, just do what we can. So ideally we'll be going to the playgroup tomorrow to be giving it a tidy up of leaves and stuff, and then also redoing some of the wood chip that we had put in initially. If you're an OG viewer of the channel, you'll remember it would have been last year that we did the playgroup, maybe not, 2023 actually maybe, and yeah, you'll remember we completely revamped the playgroup, and we're needing to go in and just give it a bit of a tidy up. Some of the wood chip is starting to sort of decompose a little bit, and there was a little bit of fungus in the wood chip that they were a bit concerned about, but it's nothing to be concerned about. It is just a natural decaying process. But what we haven't done, and I really should have suggested that, was to come and give it a turn over now and again and fluff up the wood chip as frequently as a bit of maintenance to allow the air through it and allow it not to sort of rot down. And then also the kids have obviously been throwing it around and there's stuff all over the path, and it would just be good to go and give it a bit of a tidy up. And that was the plan tomorrow. So I've got 2 bags of wood chip in the yard that were delivered by Scott Bark. Yeah, we'll just need to see what the weather does tomorrow. But trying to stay optimistic, trying to stay positive, and just crack on, because it's all we can do. There's no point sitting and moaning about it. It will be what it will be. Yeah, we'll see what it comes to. Anyway, I'm going to go back, I'm going to unload this digger, and then I'm going to go and get something to eat. See you in the morning. What are we doing, Dan?
We're building a fence.
How's it been so far?
Okay.
What kind of fence are we building?
A ranch style fence, which means rails only.
Done a couple now, haven't you? You've done a couple now.
A few, but not in this kind of tricky ground, so a lot of slopes and different undulations to work with.
So we're back on site in the daylight this time. We're just trying to determine the height of the fence in what is quite undulating ground. Fence comes along to where the guys are now, and then it sort of creeps back up, and then it comes back down, and then it comes back up to here. You can see the ground. So trying to find the best sweet spot that we can, whilst also making it, aesthetically pleasing, but also following the ground that is already there. We've had the customer out, we've showed them the crack, and they are happy enough to go ahead with what we've kind of suggested. So you don't want fences to look sort of up, down and undulating, but you do necessarily have to follow the ground, but where you can sort of find that sweet spot in between and either take away from the ground or have a bigger gap at the bottom, which means the top is a bit more aesthetically pleasing, then that's the sort of way that you kind of want to do it. No 2 fences are the same, and you've just got to try and adapt it to what you've got. You're the boss. What does Ed think? What's Ed's thoughts on the project so far?
Yeah, I think it's a shame they haven't got a nice flat garden.
That's one way to put it. Verdict? You happy with your fence?
Only if you're happy.
Shut up, would you? Are you happy with the fence?
I'm happy.
Is Ed happy with the fence?
Yeah, I'm happy. It was looking interesting with the top rail, but now it's got the rest of it.
It's looking good.
Come together. We've got some short bits to put.
Yeah.
At the end, we can probably.
So, just popped out with some more rails to the guys. I think because we went with a slightly smaller gap than initially planned. Yeah, we just need some more rails. But yeah, it's coming together. Well, it's finally here. It's far like 20 in or something.
Not the wrapped ones, obviously.
No.
No, I've already put one of them in.
Well, I mean, doesn't really matter. Sleigh bells jingling.
Ding, 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 ding.
So that is most of the guys away for the day. Damien and Ed are still on their way back, but the snows came down relatively quickly and they've kind of been caught out with the van and the trailer and getting stuck going up braes and stuff. So braes are hills for you English people watching. Up the brae, up the hill. Anyway, They are slowly creeping their way back to the yard. The Maxis is the only van that we haven't put the winter tyres on because I've completely forgotten about it. We obviously didn't, we got it in the spring this year. Every other van got winter tyres put on last year. When the vans went in to get their service and MOT, I got winter tyres put on the front and then the old ones put to the back. So most of the two Beaver Tails have full set of winter tyres. The Crafter has a set of winters on the rear. It is going in for its MOT the end of the week, or is it the end of next week, to get its MOT, and I'm going to get them to put on some winters on the back and then move the old winters to the front. It's a rear wheel drive, so swap them around just to give the guys the best chance. And I'm slightly concerned now that the guys are going to be stuck with that trailer on. This is not great.
Aye.
Do you need me to come get that trailer?
Nah, I've got it on the back.
Aye, but do you want me? Are you managing?
Yeah, nah, it's fine. We're just outside Grantown.
Okay, just coming up this hill, just try and get a bit of momentum. And so if you can come in and swing round the side so it's facing down the way, and then we'll just abandon it there.
Right, okay.
I'm here waiting for you. So this is the reality, folks, of what we're facing with the winter. And I know it sounds pretty obvious, but when you've got snow like this, it really does limit what you can do. We have some jobs, like I said, that we've pushed back to what we can do if there is snow on the ground, but when there's like 4 inches of snow, there's very little that you can do without making a sheer mess. But yeah, we've just got to try and crack on and do what we can. If the snow continues like this tonight and through the night, there's a chance that we're having to call off work tomorrow. I'll probably just need to get the key guys in and yeah, keep them busy, because again, I appreciate it's their wage as well. We need to guarantee them a wage. They know the reality of the winter, and I've just said to them there, this is a perfect example. We've kind of been caught out by the snow. We don't know how much we're going to get, and we'll have to play it by ear. But it's quite a scary position to be in when you're kind of relying on your sort of consistent cash flow coming into the bank all the time, because you're getting out there and doing the jobs, and when finances aren't the greatest anyway, you're relying on that. When you have to physically stop everything that you're doing and the revenue stops, that's when it gets a bit concerning. Oh well, why don't you do gritting? Why don't you do snow clearing? Well, that is true. However, to get into that, you need a hell of an outlay of kit and equipment to carry out the jobs, and then that kit and equipment sits around most of the year. So it isn't always, you know, the most sensible option. Would it keep us busy? Yeah, it would, but then there's also cons to it as well. You're tied to it, you're up early all the time. These are only a cons because then it's difficult to sometimes get staff to do it. You're like I say, you're tied, you can't really go anywhere through the winter months, which is essentially your downtime. God, the belt on that van. And yeah, contract based, so a lot of these contracts are kind of tied up, and it's just another service to think about, to, you know, manage, to kit up for, and yeah, sometimes it's not worth the hassle. Will we ever do gritting or snow clearing? Not sure. If the right contract came up and the right money was there, we'd probably consider it, but that's the guys just coming back to the yard now. How was that journey, Ed?
Slow.
You're here though. Oh man. Well, it finally arrived. We knew it was going to.
Bit of snow,
Just a wee bit of snow, like. Right, there's staff bonuses for whoever makes the best snow angel. Trying to give the realistic approach. You want me to come in?
I don't know if it's going to be easier to like
Push it.
take this. It's like it's sieving it.
Oh no. Oh god. It's compressing it, it's an ice ball.
What do you mean?
If your gloves are wet, it's not my fault. Well guys, good morning. It's Wednesday and the snow is still here, obviously. It fell a little bit more last night, it wasn't too bad, but I believe it's supposed to be sort of showers on and off all day. I told the guys yesterday that we may only need the 4 of them in if we're snowed off in the morning. The sort of 4 full time people, Dav, Mole, Damien and Ed would be in, and if we couldn't literally go to any jobs, we would just be around the yard and stuff, and Joe and Dav would stay at home. As I mentioned, I've been transparent in the fact with the guys about the winter, and yesterday was a prime example of what happened. The snow came out of nowhere and it started causing issues. So I very much overly stress that to whoever I'm taking on, regardless of their position, regardless of their, if they're full-time or part-time. If we get really heavy snow, it isn't great unless we go and do snow clearing, but that's another subject. But I took the executive decision this morning to say to everyone to come into the yard. Dav's just working a half day today anyway, and he's off tomorrow, but told them all to come in, and we'll just see what it's the first proper day of it being snowy, and we've decided to go and start a job in Aviemore where we'll be taking down some trees for a regular client and replacing the fence, so we can start taking down the fence. This is a perfect sort of job to do come this sort of weather, because it's essentially demolition and removing these trees. I was questioning my decision this morning in the yard when the snow was blowing sideways, and it was somewhat dark, and I just thought, is this the right thing to be doing? But we've just decided we'll go and do it. We'll go and have a laugh, if anything. If it gets really bad and we have to cancel, we have to cancel. But this is what I was saying in my how to survive the winter video. If you can go and do something, if you can go and do 1%, 5%, 10% of a job, it is better than doing nothing. If you still have to guarantee someone a wage and your overheads do not stop for the snow, your profit margins on the job might not be tremendous, but it is still money in the bank. It is still better than nothing. So if we can go out here and do as much as we can, it should be relatively easy enough. The trees are out of the ground, and the fence is out of the ground as well, so they're not covered, or they're not smothered in snow. So the guys are ahead of me. I had to go and sort out a few things. We were just getting tyres put on the Maxis. The garage is pretty busy with tyres obviously at the moment, so hopefully they're going to squeeze me in at some point tomorrow. But we've dropped the van down at the garage because I don't want to drive it in these conditions. The road is black just now. It's obviously been cleared, but as soon as you go into these sort of streets and crescents, then it becomes an issue. These guys are working, they're on the roads doing stuff. There's a digger there. We can too. There would be no point in me buying all this winter gear for the guys. I spent hundreds and thousands of pounds on kit and clothing for the guys, just in general, but specifically for the winter. They've each got a set of thermal wellies, they've each got a set of snow pants, numerous pairs of winter warm gloves, jackets, jumpers, you name it, because I don't think it's fair for me to expect the guys to come out and work in these conditions without the correct clothing, and I feel like every employer should do that, whether it's appreciated or not. It shows that you care about your staff, care about your team, which I do. Sometimes I think I care way too much, in a sense that it's, maybe not my responsibility for certain things. But as an employer, it's certainly my responsibility to make sure that they're kitted out to do the job that they are employed to do. It's my responsibility to provide that to them. It's their responsibility to use it. And it does frustrate me sometimes when, some of the guys don't have their kit on in bad weather. I'm like, well, I've bought you this, why aren't you wearing it? And that's the sort of control that you need to sort of step back from, as I've given you the kit to wear. It's up to you now if you wear it. But they're all pretty good. I mean, who would want to work out in the snow and in the wet conditions without the correct gear? But it is having to do that sort of constant reminders of set the gazebo up on the job site to keep the tools dry. All these things that if I was on site and I was doing the job, these are the things that I would be prioritising, because it's just the way I am and the way I like to work. I like to have things nice and somewhat organised, and having a gazebo on site when the weather's bad, keeping your tools dry, having a place for yourself to stand under, and just stupid things like that, stupid little things. But when I come on site sometimes and there's tools everywhere and it's wet, the nature of the job just means that is the case. We are landscapers. We work outside in all the elements. Tools are going to get wet. They're going to get dirty. That is just the reality of it. But if I can make the working environment that little bit better by getting the right kit, the right gear, the right tools, then the whole overall experience is better. Even something as simple as getting lights on the back of the van. I've just been in touch with the guy who has wired in all the laser lamps on mine, and the work lights. These work lights have been brilliant in the dark mornings, in the dark evenings, because it's by 4 o'clock it's getting dark. So I'm hopefully going to get some work lamps put on the vans, just so it's that little bit easier for the guys to see and operate. Just trying to make the overall working experience that little bit better. And again, whether that is overkill or if it is the right thing to do, yeah, I guess we'll find out. But it has been great knowing that we're like somewhat prepared and somewhat kitted out for these sort of these sort of conditions now. And the jobs that we do. We come to site, we've got the designated landscaping van that's got all the tools in it that we need. The crafter, it's got the cage sides, it's got the ability to throw material in the back. We've kind of fine-tuned these things and added to it over the years and built it to what it is just now, and it has made getting the job done significantly easier, more efficient, because we've got tools on site. Yes, we still forget things. Yes, there's still things we need to implement that will make life easier and, eliminate the need for human error of like, oh, I forgot that today, I forgot this. Checklists, check sheets, what have you got in the van, what job are you going to do, and what materials and what tools would you need for that job. That's all the sort of stuff that I need to do behind the scenes. With hopefully the help of the guys, it's good to get them involved as well in that sort of planning process, so they do feel involved. So yeah, there's systemizing things is one of the best things you can do for the business. I haven't quite nailed that yet, but it is definitely going in the sort of right direction. It's just creating the time, making the priority of doing these things behind the scenes, whilst also trying to operate and run the business from a day-to-day basis and avoid bankruptcy. Well, just pulling up on the site now, and I can see the guys are in the middle of chipping. Yeah! Are you having fun?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's nice when you don't have to worry about breaking the fence.
Yes, well, that's true. That's true. Cool. Fairly opens it up.
At the moment, we're busy taking down an old hedge, conifer hedge that's grown way out of size. We're going to be replacing the fence, so yeah. Seeing as how it's snowing at the moment, the easiest job is just removing the trees, and we'll see how we get on with the fence.
Perfect. So back on site just now, had to head back and get the digger. Wasn't sure how far we'd kind of get today, but yeah, we thought we'd try and push on with the job as much as we can. So I went and got ground guards and the digger. The guys were finishing off getting the fence out and also the rest of the shrubs and trees. Nice hat, Dan.
Cheers, mate. You too.
On the range.
Swap.
No.
Swap out your head.
Of course it does. Mike still wears it. I see him on the golf course. Good morning, folks. Welcome back. It's Thursday. It's currently 10:30 in the morning. The guys have been to the yard. They have been wrapping some posts to go in, hopefully today. It's not prime temperature to be putting postcrete in. However, we have done it in the past and it has worked. It just takes that a little bit longer to set and harden. So we're going to try and fill the holes with like hessian and stuff to try and just insulate it that little bit to keep the cold frost off of it, and then hopefully possibly by tomorrow or Monday they will be ready to sort of rail and board. It's quite a liberating feeling being able to crack on regardless of the conditions. and still get stuff done. It's almost that defiant sort of, I don't know, mentality. Like, we shouldn't really be doing this, or we shouldn't really be able to you know, put posts in or do the work that we're doing. And I know that sounds really dramatic. It is just a bit of snow, but it can really hinder things. You can't see the ground, you can't really see what you're doing. It's cold, it's wet, it's, you know, but the ability to still crack on and continue to produce revenue for the business is quite a nice feeling. The day after the snow came, I just kind of accepted it. I was like, well, listen, there's nothing we can do now. It's here. We've just got to crack on. That sort of shift in mentality was quite liberating, because it was like, I think I just accepted what I can't control. I can't control the snow. I can't control the weather. There's no point getting, you know, hung up about it. It is what it is. It's here. You know, it'll go away. We'll get past it. But it's just always that thought in the back of your head, the worry about, well, if the work dries up and if we didn't have this work, what would we be doing? And then, you know, cash flow and stuff like that. Further reinforcing again, making sure that if you are in this line of work and you do get bad winters, that you go into the winter with enough money in the bank to see you through a couple of months. And whilst you're topping up where you can, doing jobs that you can, trying to push jobs back into the winter which you can still carry on and do, such as these jobs. I could have started these back when there was no snow on the ground, but I wanted to try and make sure there was enough for us to go and do whilst the snow was here, again, and not do the jobs back to front sort of thing. I had a client phone me yesterday just saying, well, that's all the leaves down, can we book a date? And I'm like, well, there's snow on the ground and we don't know when it's going to clear up. Oh, well, I think it's going to be thawed out by next week. I really hope you're right, but if, you know, if that is the case, then we will come and do the leaves. I can't stress enough as well, it really makes a difference when you're wearing the right gear. I know I spoke about this yesterday, I remember it, but if you're wearing the right clothing, I've got the Helly Hansen snow pant things on, salopettes, and they make such a difference working in the snow and even the rain, and when it's cold. It just gives you that extra layer of protection, and yeah, it is really important that you try and wrap up for the conditions. If you're just wearing your normal work gear, you're going to get cold, you're going to get wet, and it's not going to be as enjoyable. In fact, it's not going to be enjoyable at all. So yeah, it's really important that you try and get out your teams. If you're working by yourself, make sure you're wrapped up warm into the gate, and yeah, dress to the conditions. There's a little bit of concrete in the back of the trailer that I want to go and dump out, and then we're going to go to the job site and try and help the guys, yeah, crack on with this job.
Oh my god.
Well folks, that just shows you the result of the weather. I don't know what happened to that crash, but I can only imagine that, yeah, the weather has something to do with it, the snow. So I've got the digger, we're just heading back to the yard. We're done with it on that job. We pulled out the stumps that we could and grinded the ones that we couldn't. The stump grinder was slightly damaged. The guys fixed it enough to get it going this morning, and usable, but we've ordered a new bit for it. Basically where it locks in, the turntable had bent. I think when Kyle was trying to get it back into the container by himself, which is somewhat difficult sometimes, yeah, it must have bent that thing. So we managed to use it anyway. It needs new teeth on it. I'm not sure if I've got some teeth at the yard. I have ordered some with that new part, so hopefully they'll come soon. The stump grinding isn't something that we've sort of pushed enough, really. It's one of those things, if the machine's not busy, it's probably due to your marketing, because a lot of my clients won't even know that we do it. So it's something that I've got to get on top of, making the clients that you already have aware that you can do it, because you'd be surprised at how many people don't know that you can do services or do certain things. Oh, do you do fencing? Oh, do you do? I didn't realise you do that. You've really got to try and push it out there, and the more you put out there on either social media or say like a marketing campaign on emails, it's about letting your clients know what you do and what you can offer. And there is the bank van. We have no banks in our town anymore, so the RBS van comes once a week, and I am going to go and deposit some checks. Good morning, folks. It is Friday. We've made it to the end of the week. It is a very cold Friday. It was about -5, -6 this morning, and it's slowly bringing itself up. The car says -2. It's supposed to be about 0 degrees come midday, and then hopefully climb up a little bit, because it is cold. It's funny, it often comes in stages of how bad the weather is. When it's raining, it's a nightmare. Yeah, I wish it wasn't raining. When it's snowing, the rain doesn't seem as bad, but then equally I think I'd probably, if it wasn't for not being able to see what you're doing, the snow wouldn't be that bad. I think I'd prefer that than the rain. And then when it freezes, wow, the snow is not bad at all. Everything's frozen. We're having to defrost all the locks, all the the door handles and stuff like that. Yeah, it is just what it is. It's the time of year. I don't want to harp on about the weather, but it is point of topic right now, and it's unfortunately what everyone speaks about. Oh yes, the weather. Oh, it's cold. This, that, the next thing. For the viewers that don't really get the cold weather, maybe further down south or snow, I suppose it might be quite interesting. So the guys at the end of the day yesterday loaded up for the fence today. Damien and Mole went straight to the job this morning from home in Aviemore, and there was a bit of a query from the neighbour who wasn't happy with the height of the fence, and instantly thought, oh no, here we go. But the height of the posts currently are not the finished height. We will be cutting them down, and we have used 3 metre posts instead of our usual 2.4 metre posts, because there's a bit of a drop in the ground and we didn't want to lose the height of the fence. You can't add to a post, but you can take away, so we got bigger ones for the difference in ground height. So the client had phoned me. They were just coming up the road, and they said that the neighbour's not happy, and I says, right, okay, I'll come out. So came out and just kind of talked it over and rectified it, and it's totally fine. They didn't realise that it was going to be, the post was like at least 2.5 metres out of the ground, which is a massive fence, and it was only going to be going 6 foot. So that's fine. The guys are cracking on there. Again, it's quite cold and not ideal, but we've got to crack on. If we're a little bit slower, it's better than not doing anything at all. The posts have went solid, thankfully, overnight. The postcrete has worked fine. I think maybe stuffing the holes with that Hessian has helped keep the sort of frost off of it. The temperature's the temperature at the end of the day, but yeah, it certainly helped, and that allows us to crack on with doing the fencing today. So hopefully get the majority of that job wrapped up today. We've still got to go back and trim some of the bushes and stuff like that and the trees. However, I just think it's a little bit too cold for that, so I'm going to pull the other guys off of the Kyle, Joe, and are supposed to be going there later, but I'm going to phone them and tell them to cancel that, and then once the snow thaws out, we can go back and give it a proper tidy up. So yeah, that's the plan. Anyway, I'm just heading back to the yard because Dougie, who came up and demoed the Ferris mower with us before we bought one, he's just came up with the Ferris blower. Ferris have got a stand-on blower that I've kind of been looking on and off at for a while, and we've got this one on demo for the next wee while. I know there's snow on the ground. We're hoping it's going to thaw out. It's supposed to thaw out next week, so this will certainly help with wet leaves that we have to collect. So we'll go and see. Are you warm?
I am now. It's 0 degrees.
0 degrees is
0 degrees, it's tropical.
delighted.
It's looking good though.
Degrees is a luxury after this morning.
It actually does feel a lot
I know. It's
warmer.
It's warm, man.
This is
Never been so happy to see it 0.
oh, the winter. All fun and games. I'll move it. Take a handbrake off.
Roll into the car.
We're going to roll into a camp.
Well, it tipped to the very top and it didn't come. And a split second later, the whole thing dropped. So it obviously was maybe stuck a little bit. I remember in Tom and Towel last year trying to tip out of the trailer, and we had concrete mix in it and it was frozen. We had to get the digger to scrape out the frozen material, which was great fun. But as much as it is a hindrance, it really is quite a stunning place when it is covered in snow. So, just going to head back to the yard now. Kyle, Joe and Ed are doing some tree work for a client in Grantown. Just a maple tree to come out, and then also a couple of bushes and shrubs to come out. And yeah, took them off the job that they were on because it seems a bit silly to go and trim conifers in this cold temperature, and then tidying up in the snow and everything. The trees are a bit of a better job to do as such. Damien and that, however, had the silky saw in the van, which would be ideal for what they're doing. So I tied in, coming to get this trailer, empty the trailer, picked up the silky saw. I'll head back and hopefully at that point they'll be ready to start pollarding the other tree. It's just a small tree, it's nothing big. So it is Gillian's last day, however she will be finished now. She always finished half day on a Friday. I gave her a big hug and said my farewells before I left, and thanked her for all of her hard work and the stuff that she's done that we would never have done if I hadn't got an admin assistant. The things she put in place and the sort of just the paper trail of things, and spreadsheets, and it sounds ridiculous because that's what an admin does, but it's not stuff that she took over what I did and some, and it helped immensely. So yes, so wish her all the best in her future job, and of course we'll see her around anyway. She did offer her help if need be, with this new person starting on Monday. She's had her in for 2 days, just giving her a rundown on what she does and how she does things and stuff, and what's involved. And yeah, that's definitely given us a head start, and given me a head start in onboarding a new person, because it's not always fun having to, train someone up in a field that you're not really trained in yourself. So that's that out the way. The new admin person will be coming in on a part-time basis, Monday, Wednesday and a Friday to begin with, and then as things start to pick up and then as we go into the new year and stuff, that'll hopefully transition into a full-time role. Also looking at ways where we can monetize the admin person. How can they bring more to the table than just being a cost? Of course they're a necessity, but it's just a straight cost. They're a non-fee earning role. They don't generate any revenue for the business. How can we make them somewhat profitable in terms of maybe upselling, or I guess trying to just have a bit more of a flexible role rather than just like admin tasks. Can you help with marketing stuff and reaching out to clients? And Kat, who is going to be coming on board next week, has just finished a diploma in landscape design, and she's got an interest in this line of work. She's got an interest in landscaping, she's got an interest in plants and stuff. So although it is clear that she's coming in for a admin role wholly, if there's more she can bring to the table, she's happy to do so, and that's good for us as well. It just gives her a bit more of an understanding of the day-to-day basis. Gillian did have an eventual understanding of what we do day-to-day, but if you haven't done something, or if you don't know what certain things are, it's hard to put two and two together. So maybe this will be a benefit. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm somewhat glad it's Friday. It's been a really cold day today. It is, however, now 4 degrees, so it is starting to thaw out a little bit, and you do notice a difference. But it's mental, like you're like 0 degrees, oh, it's warm, opposed to the minus. So yeah, it is tough, the winter. It really is. It can be, and it's trying not to let that stress and sort of pressure get to you, and get to the guys as well. It's understanding that although yes, we have to carry on and crack on The guys aren't going to be working at sort of full capacity. It's cold. You're working with cold staff. Your hands are cold. Your feet are cold. It's just one of those things. So it's accepting that and just trying to do as much as you can. And just try and have a laugh and keep morale up while you're doing it, because if you don't laugh, you might cry. But honestly, really grateful that we can still crack on and work and generate revenue. It's not great. It's not fun at the moment. And literally, as I say that, I drive past a homeless person who's on the streets in this weather, and it almost just makes all of your problems disappear. Can't believe I've just seen that. Yes, such is life. Anyway, as always, trying to give a transparent view in my journey and the day-to-days, the week-to-week runnings of this business. And I hope you have been enjoying it.